Howdy, my name is Haley Adams, and the biofuel that I will be researching and talking about is butanol. So butanol is a chemical compound formed from a fermentation process of corn and other plant products such as grains and straw. So things such as barley straw or wheat straw are really useful in creating butanol through the fermentation process. The chemical formula is C4H10O, and since corn is what it's made from, it's a pretty competitive biofuel just because it's pretty easy to produce. So butanol was discovered in 1861 by Pasteur. It was found by the fermentation process and has since been used as a biofuel and for commercial use. So there's actually a lot of commercial uses of butanol, such as making things like plastics, polymers, lubricants, brake fluids, and synthetic rubber. A lot of these are for, such machines that we use like cars, but there's actually also ingestion type of uses that are commercial use. So butanol is actually used a lot in artificial flavoring and a lot of beverages. So butanol is grown pretty much the same way that corn and those barley and wheat products are grown. So obviously you would plant it and grow it up to its max extent, and then they would harvest it, grind it up, and then put it through a ABE fermentation process, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. It's pretty widely available and widely used as a biofuel, and it has a decent efficiency of being made. So it has a lot of positives to it as far as the cultivation of it. So ABE fermentation is a bacterial fermentation, and it's made from the Clostridia bacteria, and it produces ABE, which is acetone, butanol, and ethanol. This is kind of what the ABE fermentation process might look like. So butanol is here, and then acetone and ethanol are here. So since you can get all three of these out of one, it's a very widely known and used fermentation process. Okay, so butanol's carbon footprint. It started being used more often because obviously we are looking for some things that have a little bit less of a carbon footprint. This means it's a bit healthier for the environment. And then all of these butanol and other alcohol-based biofuels such as ethanol have a lot of different applications in a lot of different industries. So a lot of the car industries, food industries, things like that. But since the biofuels are using carbon from plants already in the environment, and they're just reusing and recycling that, there really is no addition to the carbon footprint on Earth using butanol. So the economic impacts of butanol. This is where a few of the downsides of butanol come in. One being that the production of butanol is much less than the production of ethanol, even though they use the same process. So since it's much less of a production, it's definitely a little bit more expensive. And nowadays we know that things being more expensive means they're a little harder to get a hold of, even though they come from the same starting products. It's still pretty cost effective, just not quite as cost effective as ethanol. So butanol is still being researched as far as like the most wide variety of uses, and it's not really entirely exposed and advertised to the public yet. So wide variety of uses would be like gasoline for cars, and a lot of butanol's uses right now are in industry settings of things being made and produced for humans to consume or use, like food or parts to cars and that kind of stuff. So moving forward, my thought process is I think we should keep researching techniques of how to perhaps make a higher percent yield of butanol, and then advertise that to the public and show them the benefits and the cons of it in more widely used practices. And then that in turn will overall reduce the carbon footprints of humans on Earth, which would be very beneficial. Thank you so much.